So, first of all, thank you everybody for joining. I know it is Sunday morning and it's very difficult for somebody to wake up and join these sessions, but I'll just take 2 minutes time. My name is Devajit and I'm with Anushwa. She's the expert in DevOps. So why this webinar? Because you all know the DevOps is a kind of new normal these days, right? So in any technology, any company, these days, DevOps plays a significant role, isn't it? So people are talking about the automation, CI/CD pipeline. So today you will get the opportunity to learn, the basic understanding of the DevOps, at least the concept wise. And then probably after these sessions, you have some of the understanding, okay, where you can position DevOps and you can start the conversation with your customer or in. Please mute if anybody is saying something.
लाकडाचे ते हे आहेत ना फळी आहे ना मोठी
Lavanya, can you please go mute, please? Thank you. Yeah, so this is the context, and I've already pasted link. This is because we have decided to issue a participation certificate. It's a participant certificate so that anybody will fill up the form, then he or she will get the participant certificate. So I'll keep on sharing this link time to time in this chat box during the entire webinar. So that is something from my side. I'll not take much time. So Nushu, I'll just hand it over to you, and probably you can take it forward from here and share your screen, etc. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Debajit. So let me share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So welcome everyone. Before moving ahead, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I am Anusuva. I am basically having a total of 6+ years of experience, basically into DevOps specialization only. So today I am here to provide you some insights about DevOps, like why the culture and the entire DevOps lifecycle is being adapted very fastly on an hour day-to-day basis. And I know that a few of you might be from different backgrounds, but if we say and we see in nutshell the entire DevOps, it's in culture basically, and there are certain requisites which we need to learn. But yeah, I think there is nothing that much people have misconceptions, right? We have to become an entire programmer or we have to be in a separate domain. If somebody wants to move from one domain to another domain, then it's a perfect fit and match for them as well. So moving ahead with this, today's agenda is basically what we used to follow traditionally before DevOps. And so there were few models which we have also learned when it comes to SDLC lifecycle. Okay, so waterfall model and agile model, we all have gone through since we have been working or we will be working, we will be going through this. And how exactly DevOps basically takes over this too, and people have started adapting this slowly. So what is DevOps? The entire life cycle, its benefits, and what could be the tools using which we are having this. Then what is the connection between cloud and DevOps? Because there at times it happens that people think that cloud is in different domain and DevOps is in different domain, but that's and total no. It's kind of thing where both gels and goes hands in hand, hand to hand. Okay, and what will be the future of DevOps and the scope? And finally, after 30 or 35 minutes of this PPT, the forum will be open for the question answers. Okay. So if you are able to see my screen, you see that before DevOps, we used to have the waterfall model. So when we say waterfall model, the first thing which clicks into our mind is the traditional way of development and maintaining the products or applications with us. So waterfall model means the traditional development models. It is nothing but, if you see, it's something of the picture which you're seeing on the screen right now. It basically, you can map it to a real world scenario, that this model is similar to a waterfall. So when the water flows off from the cliff, right, it cannot goes to the previous state. So that is where the drawback is. The waterfall model says that if you have generated something, if you have, let's say, gathered your requirement, and you have directly, without giving it a second thought, started your implementation, you cannot revert it back to your previous because it has already started, the process has already got initiated, right? So you cannot go back to its previous state. So that is why, after giving it a second thought, people came up with the second traditional model, which is agile model, that we will be seeing in the next slide, how it basically overcome the waterfall model, and what were the lacking points or discrepancies in with respect to your agile model, due to which DevOps came as a proper solution, and it like blend with this too, and became an culture which got promoted on a day-to-day basis. If we see, a waterfall model is basically nothing but your entire software development lifecycle model, which starts from requirements analysis. Then you gather your all the requirements in one go. Then once you gather, you sit and start the designing process. Once your designing process is complete, you go forward and start doing the implementation part, then verification, and then maintenance. Okay, so this is the entire way one SDLC life cycle goes through. Anybody who starts their career in software or IT or wherever, the first and the prime most model which has been taught, with respect to the culture we promote, is the waterfall model. These were the traditional model which companies earlier in their early stages used to follow. So what used to happen at that time? It's difficult to make the changes, as I mentioned before. If you made any changes to your current state, you cannot go back to your previous stage. And whenever you are having some projects, like there are times the requirement varies organization to organization, right? So you have some small project where you are just starting. You might have some project which is a long going project. If it is a very long going project, let's say for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, if you want agility at that time, you cannot wait for your things to get deployed or things to get delivered, right? So for large size projects, any large size projects, this waterfall model doesn't suit well. Okay, then at times it happens that developers and testers are working as in segregate teams, so they don't work together basically. So developer does what? They just focus on writing the code, and they push the code and give it to the tester, right? So the tester or the QA team does what? They do the testing process, and then they find the bugs and revert it back to the developer. So what happened? The blame games and the things like that, the silos between the both get started, right? So that is why it is not recommended, and we have evolved the process of the waterfall model, where the requirements are at high risk and the delivery needs agility. So for that perspective, people have stopped using, or we can say not stopped, like they have enhanced the waterfall model, came to agile process of the SDLC lifecycle. Then they have started adopting DevOps for now. Okay, we will be seeing how. So what actually waterfall model does is, when a developer writes code and they start to deploy the code, starting from the build till building the integration part and then deploying it to the production or the different environment, it becomes a challenge. It takes lot of time and longer time for deploying their code when it comes to waterfall model. And the operational teams, they find very much like a lot of difficulty to identify and give feedback onto the product, because it has to go up and down, up and down, up and down with so many of the requirements, because they cannot revert back after one iteration. So that was the issue, because of which the end product before reaching to the operation teams, it becomes difficult for them to get, the rollback feedback. Continuous spontaneous feedback was not possible from their end. So what happened was, this waterfall model then gave an extension to the agile model. Now, what is agile model? If you would have gone through or have worked, you will able to relate. Okay, so what happens is, agile model works in an iteration pattern. Okay, it's an approach to the development process of software, where basically each project is divided into multiple number of iterations. Okay, so as a result of which, each iteration will deliver one feature at a time. Let's say, let's take a real time example. Okay, I have a product, okay, where I have developed one feature, and that one feature has an iteration cycle of 14 days. Okay, now after 14 days, my one feature has been developed and that has gone into release. So on that very day, that feature got released. Now what happened in the second iteration cycle, I released the second feature, but at the same time, I will be getting certain bugs from my feature one. Or let's say I want to iterate back, reiterate back to my feature one, where I might have got many bugs and I want to resolve it. So at that time, it becomes a again an challenge to bring back some new requirements, some new feature, and evolve that existing feature and work on parallelly onto the next feature, right? But although the thing is, it has divided into iterations, but still the case is requirement will be again the same, right? Means kind of new. So for that, the requirement design require iteration 2 also requirement design, iteration 3 also requirement design. But at the end, what is happening, if let's say feature 1 has the bugs and it needs some evolution, means that will be a fresh requirement. Okay, similarly the second one, similarly the third one, until n iteration numbers, we can go with the agile model there, right? So what happened, let's say developer writes the code is working on the system. Now what happened, operations also try the same software code, and it is not working on their system when it comes to agile model. So why it is not working? Because might be the case that the iteration 1 and the iteration 2 might have received certain gaps among themselves. The gap basically is the gap where the developer team is not working in coordination manner with the operational team. Okay, means developer team is working on and focusing only to generate the code, and operation team is only working and getting just the operation work done in their way. So there is a gap between them, the communication is not seamless between them, right? So to solve these kind of challenges where the developer and the operational team works in unison together, we have DevOps with us. This DevOps guy, or let's say DevOps specialist, has the role and responsibility to work with both the teams together in parallel and to bridge the gap between the developers and the operations team. Okay, so DevOps is basically nothing but it's a culture that now the organizations and industry experts are adapting, or big large MNCs organizations are adapting on a day-to-day basis, because of the beauty it provides, like the continuous integration, continuous development, unlike the agile method, which there the problem was the continuous feedback was not there. So let's say in iteration 1 I face some problem, right? I will have the ability to reiterate back to the first iteration. I can modify the changes. I can give the feedback, spontaneous feedback on the same day, on the same deployment day. I can do multiple deployments for the same product at the same time. That's why people have started adopting DevOps and have promoted the culture seamlessly. So now, how it is DevOps is getting adopted over waterfall model. So initially, before in my previous slides, it was there that the developers were facing challenges, right? Because developers were only focusing on maintaining the code, and operations team were focusing on maintaining their operational activities, and they were not able to give the spontaneous feedback onto the iterations, right? So when they brought the DevOps model into picture, what happened? The developer who was taking a very long time for deploying the code, okay, because of the feature, the beauty of continuous integration, he was able to result in quick deployments of the code by using a continuous build, by using a continuous build pipelines, and continuous deployment at the same time. And when it comes to operational team, he was getting in difficulty to identify and give spontaneous feedbacks on the product. But as soon as he adopted the culture of DevOps, or he adopted the DevOps model, what he was able to get was a better monitoring and quick feedback that has gone through the entire continuous monitoring tool, right? Because he got the visibility power in using the monitoring tool. Monitoring tool means, let's say your feature or your any deployment have gone down, so the operation team has automated ruthlessly the entire infrastructure in a way that he just has to sit and get an alert triggered to him or her, and they will able to monitor the entire hamper that has happened to the deployment process. And within hours, or you can say in minutes, they can troubleshoot the entire flow, that where exactly, starting from development till testing or API calling or deployment, which exact flow or stage has got the issue or the bugs in the entire process flow. So that is how basically DevOps model basically has removed the problems between the developer and the operations team. But when it comes to DevOps over agile model, like now also, it is being said that DevOps has been adopted, but certain times people are still using the agile and calling it DevOps. Okay, that is not DevOps. It's like DevOps is totally different case that we will be seeing in further slides. Okay, so here what is the problem is, when the people have started the agile, the same problem, that operations was not able to work properly, but development team was able to fix the code and giving their deployments. Okay, so the solution which came into mind was again that DevOps model. As soon as the DevOps model came, all the problems and discrepancies between both the teams got resolved because of the integration process flow, and the things which were the tools which they have adapted to promote that culture basically. Okay, so now here there are certain benefits what DevOps has provided, although you might have got the entire gist what the problem were there with the traditional methods of deployment and development, and how DevOps have removed all those problems which were being faced when it came to traditional method of agile and waterfall model deployment process. Okay, so here what happens is DevOps is in collaboration between development and operational team, which basically enables a continuous delivery of application and services to our end users. Let's say you are working somewhere and a project came that has a timeline of 1 year, or let's say 6 months. Okay, so what will be the bare minimum requirement at that time to initiate that project? Anybody would like to comment or say anything on the use case scenario? Okay, hello, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Anusha. I think they are
Okay.
thinking. Yeah.
Okay, no issues. So my question was, I will again repeat, let's say one project or product came for you to develop and deliver, and the time frame is for 6 months or 1 year. Okay, then what will be the probable step? And they asked you that you have to deliver by this timeline, right? They have already given the timelines to you. So nothing, the main solution will be DevOps. Okay, so what we will do, we will first do the requirement gathering and analysis, and we know that we have to provide an proper environment or infrastructure, underlying infrastructure to the uh, team basically initially, right? If there are no infrastructure available for the team to work, then there is no way to implement this entire process flow of DevOps or cloud or whatever you want to implement on top of it. So the first priority is to give an underlying infrastructure. Okay, so to give that infrastructure to the or the environment to the developers or the testers or the operation team, that a basic requirement and role and responsibility again would be taken care by an DevOps engineer. Okay, so they will make sure that the collaboration happens between the development and the operation teams by enabling the continuous developer delivery of application to the users and to the clients who are coming to us, and they are giving a tight time frame. Then also it is possible if we adapt this DevOps methodology. Okay, so till now we have discussed, okay, what DevOps is, like why we have adopted DevOps, and how it is better than the traditional methods of your agile and waterfall model. But now, if you see the thing which is coming into your mind, why I have to learn DevOps and what will be the future of it, right? If you see current demand and the future demand of DevOps until 2030, I can guarantee you that this skill will be soaringly increasing every time, and you will be getting hefty salaries based on this. And that is because now everybody is wanting automation, right? You have everything with you, which means everybody wants faster delivery with security inbuilt into it, right? Proper faster deployment cycles, less shorter cycles for development, right? Releases should happen very frequently, and those releases should not amount you to hefty costs. So costs can also be maintained with respect to resources, also with respect to the things or the infrastructure which you are providing for the developers and operational teams both. Okay, so whatever you are doing right now is very good, but moving ahead, it's an demand basically. So like if you are adapting and learning DevOps, like I think it's an skill which will grow and will be there available at least minimum of 10 to 20 years more. And coming to this, we have seen DevOps. DevOps means development with operational. CloudOps also goes hand in hand with DevOps, but you might have seen the market growing bit off towards AI and ML, right? So the thing which will come into my mind, if DevOps, then how we can relate it to AI and ML. So there is another jargon which I'm using, MLOps. So the model and the deployment processes will always remain same. Keep this in mind that the deployment processes, the designing process, and the SDLC process will remain as it is. It's just that the technology which you are using in the foreground, that will only get changed. So if I say how DevOps will be there till end, or like how it will help, that is the question which might come into your mind. So that jargon which I used just now, MLOps, okay, machine learning with operations. So all the machine learning models, whether it's chat GPT, it's DeepSeek, whatever models you are using, they are also being used in background for the various big companies who are currently working with machine learning and AI. They are also using the deployment cycles. So it's just that the foreground technology is getting changed. In the background, the same AWS, same Azure, same pipeline, same tools, the DevOps which you people will be learning, or you are learning as a side skill, that will remain intact forever. Okay, so that is what is the goal. So it will always be demanding. Don't worry about that. It will always be demanding, whether it's your present or your future. So it's a very must skill. Everybody should learn this, whether it's a developer, tester, regardless of the fact that no, I'm working here as like this. No, it will be an always a value addition to your skills. Okay, because of the benefits and the previous centric points which I mentioned because of that reason. Now, coming to benefits of DevOps, basically what happens, it evolves a better collaboration between teams. It helps to make the deployment processes easy. It helps to scale your applications with greater efficiency at the initial stage of development till deployment. You in any iteration or in any stage you can fix your errors. It is not the case that, let's say, you have done the code, you have committed the code and your build has, so you will have to deploy it. No, there are many rollback strategies which are present as part of this entire DevOps process, which has that's why it's an extension to your traditional method. You can roll back to your previous builds, and you can work, improve, and redeploy the same on the very same day. So it's like, regardless of the fact, you can deploy multiple number or n number of deployments on the same day if you have that if you have already worked onto your automation or the underlying infrastructure properly. Then again, it will help you provide a better security. And obviously, there will be less manual intervention, which means that there will be less chances of error. Wherever there are manual intervention, incorporated, there are chances of higher every time. And also, if you have, prepared a software and you are ready to go for release, it allows you to keep versioning, and there are many deployment processes using which you can continue and do so. Okay. One more real time scenario I will bring this into your notice. Many times it happens that you have released the first version of your product. Okay. But into the next version, at times it might happen that you want all high availability and the scalability perspective of your product. You want to scale your product. Okay. So at that time, if you know, like, I can do this. I mean, you can do, or you have learned any tool of DevOps, then it's a cakewalk for you to even work on the scalability purpose of the product or the services. And as soon as it comes, you can do it by scaling your applications using Kubernetes. It is one of the tools basically which DevOps work with in DevOps with which you can work, and also provides you the feature of scaling and high availability that we will be seeing in further slides and all. But just for the real use case scenario, I mentioned this. Okay. Now, there is an entire life cycle of DevOps. Okay, life cycle of DevOps in the sense when a developer or a development team starts developing after gathering of their own requirements and everything, they will start to code. Okay, once they start to code, they will commit their code somewhere where it will be required to version that code because it is easy. So that code will get committed and get versioned into Git, SVN, or Bitbucket, anything you can think. Now, once that is present over there, the second thing which will bring the automation into picture is to build that code. It is, let's say you are building or doing the coding onto your local system. Okay. And tomorrow your local system got crashed down. Okay. Is it feasible to retrack it back from your local system ever? No. So because of that reason, everything, all the resources has been managed remotely somewhere. So what you will do, even if your system is crashed, you are not worried about it. Why? Because you have already made the system remote on cloud using DevOps tool, right? So that's why I have mentioned in my early slides that cloud and DevOps goes hand in hand. Okay, so for that, the code has been committed to the Git, irrespective of the fact wherever you are there present in the world, you can go Okay, you just have to log in with your credentials. You can take out all your essential and data, whatever there, and start development. Means there is no waiting time or no worries about, okay, now the physical system has gone, from where I can retrieve back my older things or the important things which were present as part of my coding, and there is no wastage of time as well, right? So for that, you have Git with you. That's an version control system, or we can say source code repository management system for your code to maintain and remain safe there, right? Once that is there, the second thing which will come is to build your code, whatever you have committed as part of your SCM. So for build, there are many tools which are available, but when it comes to DevOps, the most mature form of tool which people use basically, because it was the first which people used to build their pipelines. So that was Jenkins. So when it comes to build cycle, people started to use Jenkins, which was nothing but an integration tool, and that we will be seeing in further slides, like what and all tools have aided in order to make the DevOps lifecycle seamless. Okay, so Jenkins was the tool. Then they have you like we started to use that, and with that we have focused on the builds as well. It gives you an visibility, like whether your builds are healthy or your builds are passing with the proper scenarios and use cases into it, whether you are able to get an proper coverage to your code base or not. Once that and all is done, you are good to go with your release. Okay, now when it comes to release, after you build your pipeline, at that time the first thing which will come into your mind, release means I have to deploy my code somewhere. So that deployment phase, for that again you will have to learn few tools like that we will be discussing, but the most primarily used tool which we learn basically to containerize and to package your build, which you have just now released using Jenkins, okay, is Docker. Okay, Docker is nothing but an a containerization tool where your application will be packaged, okay, into an container format, and you can take that container, you can ship that container, and you can keep it into your release server wherever you are releasing, or your production environment. That's it. That's it. Now, once this infrastructure has been designed as per your application one time, just onto the next day with one single click, this entire flow of DevOps lifecycle and process is being designed. You just have to do one click and done. Your releases will happen. That's why I'm mentioning that one release cycle is not the only case. You can do on a single day at least minimum of 10 to 15 deployments daily. Okay, so that is the beauty and the power of entire DevOps. Okay, so yeah, again, if we come to there, and then the operational teams take the handover and they maintain the entire release management life cycle. So that's whatever I have mentioned here. You can see on my screen, continuous build and test. Then the source code management either depends on your requirement and all. If you are using Git or you are using SVN, whatever you want to use, you can use it as part of your source code management. Then again, the continuous integration happens, the continuous deployment happens, the operational team takes the charge, they do the continuous monitoring, and done. Boom, software has been released for you. Okay, so basically, if you see, DevOps lifecycle divides has done nothing, but it has brought the DevOps model in a way that it divides your entire SDLC lifecycle into the following manner. Like, integration is the center of attraction of this entire DevOps, because it need to integrate basically your entire this thing ops and dev team, right? So dev team has plan, code, build, and test, and with plan and code they will be continuously doing the development process, and with build and test they will be doing the continuous testing. In conjunction to that, the operational team will be doing the deployment process, operational process, and then monitoring the entire process flow of your CI/CD or your DevOps lifecycle. Okay. Once we have done and known that, okay, this is the DevOps life cycle with us, there are certain tools, okay, which is present as part of DevOps. So as I was mentioning, in source code management, Git is there. For continuous integration, we have Jenkins. For continuous deployment, depending, because I prefer Docker. At times it happens that people want auto scaling in the same way, so they will be using Kubernetes. If somebody wants the deployment to happen on a basis of infrastructure, they will select Ansible. And then for monitoring, people have selected Nagios. It again depends. You can select Prometheus with Grafana if you want to go with open source, and if you want, you can go to Datadog. Again, just keep this in mind while selecting the tools with DevOps. You have to be very, very, very careful, because it depends again onto your total requirement and the life cycle span you are using. Selection of proper tool is very, very, very important when it comes to DevOps, because let's say you don't select a proper tool at the same time, it might take some time for you, or it can consume time, and also you can where your team or org is trying to optimize the cost, you might incur more cost. Okay, so cost optimization is a major factor which people are seeing and focusing on also on a day-to-day basis. So again, selecting proper tool when it comes to DevOps tools for maintaining the life cycle, it's a very important paradigm. So if you see, these are the tools basically. Again, depending. So there are n number of tools for performing the automation or for optimizing your entire process cycle. Again, it depends on the requirement, which tool you want to learn or which tool you want to go through. So it has an entire roadmap. Let's say I want to learn Git for development. For testing, I want to use Jenkins. For deployment, again, I can use either Jenkins, or I can also write manifest files using Kubernetes. Okay, for monitoring, I have these many tools. So let's say I want to go with Nagios. I will select Nagios. Again, I will check whether it gels up with my application or not. That is also a thing. And then keeping in mind that what exactly could be the configuration, I will be going through this. And the security, for security, I have these many tools. Then logging plays a very important role, right? So I will be going through Splunk or EBK or my own log files. Okay. And then like this way, I will be selecting tools based on my requirements. Okay. Now, like at times it happens that we get confused that what is the connection between cloud and DevOps. Okay, it's a very, very, very confusing part, or let's say many people not able to relate that how these two things are connected. DevOps is, again, I will repeat, it's in culture, right? It's in process flow. It is consisting of life cycle phases, means for implementing or executing one phase, it will require certain tools, which are your DevOps tools. Now, this is a method, right? But you need an underlying infrastructure to perform this method somewhere, right? So for that, we will be needing cloud. Okay, so DevOps is inseparable if it comes to cloud. If you are learning cloud and not DevOps, that is also not a good thing. And if you are learning DevOps and not cloud, that is also not possible, because you need an underlying infrastructure to run your method or to implement your tools or phases of life cycle onto somewhere, right? So both should go hand in hand. And that's why cloud, if you see onto my screen, brings in infrastructure flexibility and self-service methods for infrastructure provisioning, keeping into mind the agility to provide the driving transformation for your business growth. And when it comes to DevOps, it will give you speed, because it provides an automation process and unified development and methodology to streamline your entire development process flow. So both have mutually contributed, or you can say both have to go hand in hand in order to strengthen the collaboration between cloud and DevOps. Both are inseparable without each other. We can say that a cloud engineer, but the role and responsibility will at times get mixed up, and you will be seeing that yes, like it's a good blend if we go both with this. Like for example, if I say DevOps, AWS DevOps, what comes into my mind? That the platform where I will be applying this DevOps method, the underlying infrastructure will be in AWS. At times, your org may be using Azure DevOps, right? So the cloud, the platform which I will be using there is Azure, but the method will again be DevOps, right? Similarly, let's say they said GCP DevOps, right? Your underlying infrastructure on which your resources will be floating is GCP, Google Cloud Platform. They are nothing but the giant public based providers, cloud providers, and the method which you will be using, which will remain static forever. That's why I'm repeating it again. That is DevOps. This method will be fixed, only the cloud platforms will get changed behind the scene, again, depending on the requirement of your project. Okay, so how driving DevOps and cloud evolution happened? Let's say there is an project. Okay, so you have to maintain a readiness assessment where you will be evaluating and analyzing an organization, basically using your some assessment solution or something, like basically we can say initial those head notches of your orgs basically work with that. Then you will be going to know like what is the objective of the project, right? How that can be attained with your DevOps and cloud synergy. So basically the requirement gathering. Once that is done, then you'll have to, the next step will be to define and process, right, where your DevOps culture can be basically promoted. So you will set up a basic process which evolves the solution, and you will gradually do the development, keeping into mind the CI/CD and the faster release cycles of yourself. Again, synergizing your entire DevOps and cloud. So you will define the initial solution and link it to your cloud platforms. And finally, managing the application by your operational teams, okay, which sometimes being referred with cloud ops. Okay, so they will be monitoring it via the monitoring tool or whatever they have set up for them 24/7. So keep in mind, whoever or whatever like a DevOps guy is doing, they have to be available 24/7, because they starting from development till deployment, this DevOps guy has been present throughout with all the team members of your entire cycle. That's why whenever it comes to production, you might have seen, those who are working into the software industry have seen that this DevOps guy will be present in each and every iteration and in each and every cycle and in each release. Once the people have done this, DevOps people will also be available for the production support 24/7. Okay, that's what is the basic thing. Coming to the end of my entire this thing, you can see that's what I have surveyed and researched. It's an emerging technology, and what it will look like in 2030, as I have mentioned before and will mention again, that till 2030, it's an emerging technology. Already today, from 2023 till 2028, it will be going to expand from 10.4 billion to 25.5 billion market area. Okay, the entire DevOps culture has invested nearly 33% more time in infrastructure improvement, because if you don't have a proper infrastructure, then everything else becomes a side cornered thing. Okay, you cannot do anything. Your configurations has to be proper. You will have to get in proper environment, because many a times it has been seen that a release has been made, but the issue has happened with the infrastructure. So people have started invested more on designing the infrastructure, promoting the DevOps culture, faster releases, and deployment and containerization of applications, because 77% of the businesses are now dependent on this. So if you estimate the only containerization market, if you see here, is estimated for USD 944 billion, right? So that is how it is. And also if we see, coming to the career prospects, okay, anybody who is hailing from computer science background, software engineering background, IT background, or any background, those who are thinking of doing this can obviously do it, because it's a very pivotal and an important skill for any job role. And I think it will be a very smart choice if we learn the skills properly. So, yeah, that is all I wanted to share. And now the forum is open for your questions, and I'm there for your answer.
Anybody does have any questions? I think it's a great session, Sanusha. I think feel free to raise your questions, guys, if you have any. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Yes.
Actually, I have a little bit doubt here. Like,
Mm-hmm.
which tool we can use is basically from AWS, yeah, Azure.
Sorry, I didn't got the question. Can you repeat again?
Means all that tool, whatever means ISU we are using, means deployment part, it will be deployed in Azure or AWS, specific
It
in that course.
depends. If it depends. If you want to go with AWS, then the DevOps tool will remain same. Only the platform will become AWS. So deployments will happen on your AWS based server.
Okay.
Yes. And if you are using Azure, the deployment will happen onto your Azure based PaaS platform.
Okay, I have a question for on behalf of others. Okay, there's a common question, Anushka, that people saying, look, I'm for DevOps, should I want to know the programming or should I come from the programming background because I don't have any? Maybe somebody coming from telecom background, somebody coming from a different non-development background. So what's your suggestion that for them that do they know the programming like a ninja or only little bit understanding the script will work?
Yeah, sure. So to answer your question, others, the thing is, hefty program like a high level programming language like C++, Java and all is not at all required, because it's all about the if you are from the telco domain, that is also an plus point, because configuration management, networking, okay, and bit of scripting, these are three few things which a person should have in skills and hands on with. That is more than enough for learning or starting off your DevOps journey. There is no requirement of learning any high end programming language like or front end language like that. It's just the basic understanding you should know that okay, it's an Java based application or an Python based application or an like what basically the application backend application is developed into. Only that much information is sufficient enough to start off. Apart from that, you need not have to have that programming language thing. But yeah, scripting is very, very important. Linux and scripting is very, very important when it comes to DevOps. And obviously, tools will again from scratch. So that you will have to learn it from scratch. There is no requirement. It's a totally a different thing to learn on. So there is no requirement of any programming skills prior.
So I have a follow-up question for that. If somebody will, they will show interest with what, to learn from us, right? The DevOps. So
Mhm.
can we help them in terms of little bit
Mhm.
scripting, knowledge, a little bit, Linux basic understanding in such
Mhm.
course, right? I mean, in our course.
Yes, definitely. In our course, the course curriculum basically starts with that, where we will be first doing a brief introduction about the DevOps and all these cycles and the tools. We will be pre-handedly deciding that in each phase which tools we are going to do. Then there will be few sessions which will be purely onto Linux and Bash scripting and Git. These three we will be going through, and then in our basic course, we will be going through Docker and all those things. For those who are going through basic, like totally naive, right? Beginners kind of people. For them, this will be there in our course.
Great, great. Thanks. That's all from my side.
Yeah.
Anybody has any questions, or we can wrap up right now? I believe that you have already, fill up the form and also the WhatsApp chat, WhatsApp group that we have. Yeah, Lavanya?
Yeah. Hi, Debushi.
Hi.
I have just means like a small question. If I just want to know, means if we have ready with our code in the deployment side, and when we have to deploy properly, so we require the connectivities, pipelines also for the deployment process.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
So we use DevOps for that reason, right? And means like what type of means pipelines we are designing in this DevOps, and what is means like what is the exact workflow, how we are going to follow the process?
Okay. So as I mentioned, we will be going through the cycle. Let's say you build the code, you have your code or application with you, right? So once it is there, we
Yes.
can do one thing into your Jenkins pipeline. We will be writing a Groovy based script. Okay, there we will be putting the stages wherein your first stage will be to pull up the code with the branching strategy that we have to already
Okay.
implement. Okay.
Okay.
So once that branching strategy is ready, just click on the onto the stage. The stage will do what? It will pull your entire code. It will build it. Let's say your Maven build, right? It will build it.
Yes.
And once that is built,
Okay.
that build will pass on to the containerization phase where you will be pulling making your building your package like container basically
Correct.
image,
Yes.
and that image will go to the next stage where either you can manually write and manifest file using Kubernetes for deployment, or you can
Okay.
also map in the same stage, next stage, where you will put an a stage, let's say deployment, and Kubernetes can be mapped into there, and that will get deployed to your server. This will be the entire
Okay.
flow.
Okay. Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Got it.
Thank you.
S-
Yes. Any more questions?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I think nobody has any questions. Again, the last comment from my side, we are going to start this DevOps program, this course. Again, it's not a typical, I'm just sharing this message over here. Or if you feel interested, somebody, please let us know. And also there's a WhatsApp chat, there's a WhatsApp group that we have. It's completely free forever. Okay. So you can join there. You can learn many things. Many technical team members we have, including me. We exchange a lot of information. Just stay there, learn and grow, and that is free forever. So you can join also there.